I'd just been fired. I have a learning disability called dyspraxia. It makes me very clumsy, sometimes very forgetful. I was already in quite a low point, and I'd been talking to some volunteering places, and they were like, well, why don't you go back to university? It seems like you very much enjoyed it, and the only reason you left was due to issues I was having at the time with my mental health. And they were like, you seem like you've really enjoyed it, and you seem very passionate about the subject. And it was really Diane that helped me make that final leap into getting like the acceptance letter and everything through, and work on coping mechanisms for it. But like I say, before I met Diane, like I say, I was just out of a job, very all over the place, wasn't really coping very well. I just moved out of my sister's, and there was very much a argument over that and things like that. So yeah, I wasn't in a great place. I came off from that really, really low, hit every single temp job at an office, temp job here, care home job, and then, so yeah, it was like I was having issues with I've got obsessive compulsive disorder. I was having issues with that, in that I wasn't really going out. Sort of issues with phobias and stuff. It wasn't great. I was like basically just spending all day inside in bed. I was like very nervous at first. I was terrified, and Di was really good at like having a chat, calming me down. Di's very good at like going, okay, so what is the actual issue? You know, what's the issue here? A big thing was her like constantly bringing it back onto topic, finding out what I actually need rather than letting me just rant myself out, things like that. And a lot of the time, like the solutions she would come up with, they're like so simple that I was just like, okay, why didn't I think of that? And stuff like that. She's very good at letting me get just enough rant out and then dropping the solution in. So I wasn't working myself up too much, and at the end of the day the problem was, if not solved, then not as huge as I was thinking it was initially. I was speaking with Portland Pathways, and they were sort of running me through what help they could give me, but it was more, I don't want to say basic, because basic doesn't do it justice. It wasn't what I needed as help goes. Whereas framework was a lot more helpful and more, what's the word, like targeted at my needs, or maybe more broad, if that makes sense. Yeah, summer 2019, I ended up going on the bushcraft programme, and we went out into the woods for a day, and we learned to set up like little shelters from like the trees and the ferns and stuff, and we made there were pizzas being made in like a proper pizza oven, and I ended up cutting some wood because, like I said, I didn't want to go near the fire, but that was quite fun because it was like a big hammer, and then you would put it in like this little metal thing, and then you would hit it as hard as possible, and I never managed to hit it hard enough to like fully split the wood like you see some people do, and we also made coasters that I still have. Skill Plus for Change, which was really helpful. I met some really nice people on that, and it wasn't supposed to be challenging. It was supposed to be getting me out of the house, establish a routine so I'm not moping about all week, and you know when you get that and the days start to blur into one another. So it was really helpful in that I was getting out, I was talking to people, I was getting on the bus, taking public transport, and I'm like just meeting new people and talking to new people. I remember we had like a lot of really good just chats. It was very fun, and we would talk about all different topics. I think we had discussions surrounding politics, but it was always quite very, very respectful. It was always like, if I'm uncomfortable with this, I can say I'm uncomfortable with this, and then we're not going to touch on that topic. And then we move to another topic that everyone is comfortable with. And I really, really enjoyed that, just discussing things. Definitely just do it. Everyone is super accommodating. You're never going to be judged. You're never going to be sat there feeling like, oh no, I'm taking resources away from people that actually need help, because they'll always be there to like hold out a hand and basically say, this is what we can do. This is, here's what we can offer, and you're never going to be feeling like you're a burden, and that you're making someone's day worse, because you always feel very welcomed. Reach out, even if it is just to someone you know. Reach out. Don't suffer on your own, because suffering on your own, everything is 5 times worse. And without someone helping you, you've got no one there to... like I say, just reach out to someone. Very badly. There's nothing worse than being cooped up on your own. And some people will say, oh, well, I like being on my own. I don't like leaving the house. I don't like going out. But there's a difference between staying in your room and knowing you can go out than staying in your room and being told if you go out, you can get in trouble. And it is a lot more oppressive, and it weighs down on you, and you think, well, I can't go meet my friends for coffee at the weekend, and it's like that sort of little, there's nothing to look forward to. You don't know when it's going to end. You've just got to make do in your own house, and for a lot of people, it's not great, because they might have nothing to distract them from it, if that makes sense. So, the TV was hardly going to help, because it's just doom and gloom on most things, isn't it? Definitely taking advantage of walks when I could. I was doing my 1 walk a day, which is just more help than you would think it was. Beyond the exercise, it was just, you go out for that walk, you come back and you feel a lot more refreshed because you've got a different scenery. I moved my furniture around a lot to make everything feel quite fresh. I think the biggest thing for me was not looking at the same thing day in, day out, and trying to keep variety going. And I'd sort of learned that from those days when I would spend all day in my room, just in bed, get myself moving, change things about, don't just settle into a routine and just get more and more miserable.